To be absolutely clear, the accountability is not to be on the parents or the family or the kid. The accountability will rest on the big tech platforms.
Well, there you have it. Manitoba becomes the first province in Canada to move forward banning social media and AI chatbots for teens and children under the age of 16. Welcome to the Political Orphans. My name is Nico Lagan. I'm joined by my Sunday co-host, Mr. Peyman Ascari. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. You've been a busy man. I caught your podcast last night.
And I had another one at 12 today. Then we're here right now. So I'm always busy. I'm always working, trying to spread the knowledge that Canadian needs to know in order to get prepared for what's coming. Because, man, it's starting. I was calling it for a while now that social media bans were just a matter of time. Australia came up with it last year. Then Canada's following suit. Mark Carney's talked about it. And now we have the first premier in Wob Wob Canoe that announced them today. So it's breaking news. And I have a video here, not very long. It's about a minute and a half. We'll break it down afterwards. But just listen at the way he speaks about it. Just listen at the words that he uses, because to me words are everything. You always need to pay attention to what people say and the way they say it. But listen to Mr. Wob Wob Canoe.
I think it's really important for the mental health of young people and just the freedom for young people to be kids while they're growing up. You have these massive tech oligarchs who have made themselves unprecedentedly rich by giving preteen girls body issues and exposing young people to human trafficking and putting toxic content in front of young preteen boys' minds. Like, it's a shameful way to make a living. And most importantly to us in Manitoba, it's a real travesty in terms of what should be the prime years of helping the young brain grow so that they can be the great Canadians we want them to be in the future. So we're just going to simplify things. I think it'll help parents too, who are probably spending a lot of heartburn and stress trying to navigate these issues. You know, maybe mom and dad don't have to be the bad guy. They could just point the finger at the premier and say it's his fault. I'm happy if that helps the average family out there. And then just when it comes to implementation, we'll be working over the next few months with families and teachers in the province just to make sure that we get the message out. To be absolutely clear, the accountability is not to be on the parents or the family or the kid. The accountability will rest on the big tech platforms.
The responsibility, the accountability will not rest on the shoulders of the parents nor the children, but they will rest on the shoulders of big tech companies. How much crap is that? This is absolute insanity, what he just said there. Absolute insanity, saying that the government and big tech companies are responsible for what I do as a parent. And it blows my mind because I'm a parent. And the government is not accountable for my son. Neither is big tech. My wife and I are. It's up to us to decide what's good for my son and what isn't, not the fucking government. Yet, here we are. We have a Mark Carney that wants to take that power away from us. There's Wob Wob Canoe that wants to take that power away from us. And before I address exactly why this is so problematic, I want to show this, because this always amazes me, that unfortunately for you and I, Peyman, that don't agree with this, and the people in the audience, we are a minority of individual. If you look at the publications by Angus Reid Institute and the poll that they came out with a few weeks ago, and then you start looking at this post right here. So this is a post by Wob Canoe. So it is not somebody else. It is him. There's no point about playing the video. I wanted to show you the actual comments. So it literally says, we are moving forward with a first in Canada plan to ban social media and AI chatbots for youth because these platforms are built to capture attention and not protect it. Don't worry about television. Don't worry about pornography because those, they're not going to go after that because those don't capture the attention of our children, just social media. Children or childhood should be about learning, growing, and being present, not endless scrolling designed for profit. A childhood should be about learning what that LGBT crap that they teach our children, the SOGI agenda that we see in school, the work agenda that's being taught to our children in the education system. This is what he calls education, and we owe it to the next generation something simple: the freedom to be kids while being controlled by the government. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, right? A lot done, a lot more to go, but look at the comments. This is what always blows my mind. Clapping, amazing night, clapping, wow, excellent. You've never done anything more important than this. Thank you so much. Anyone here who says this violates our freedom or parents should parent is part of the problem. If you actually looked at studies behind the algorithms, you would see the mental damage they do to developing brains worse than some drugs, just like how cigarettes or age gate, social media needs to be as well. If social media was designed like Facebook was back in 2004, sure, that would be fine, but it's not like that anymore. So yes, the government is stepping in to protect our children because you're too ignorant. I don't know who the you're he's speaking to, because that guy by the name of Derek Heisler sounds like a massive ignorant individuals, but this is what we're seeing everywhere. Like, I was looking at the posts where everybody is posting this and they're celebrating social media bans, and those are all the comments. You can scroll through. You have the very extremely rare, like 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20 comment that's like me. Hey guys, are you kidding me? Here's why it's a problem. Most of the comments are all celebrating. And as per Derek, as a parent, it's not my problem to make sure my son is not on social media. It's the government's problem because I'm too ignorant to do my job as a parent. This is what that guy just said. How insane have we become in Canada?
So regarding that Instagram thing, that Derek guy, I'm pretty sure he's watched, he just took the transcript from one of your podcasts and fed it into ChatGPT and said, how can I say the opposite? But this Wob Canoe guy, who, by the way, looks high every time he's talking, like he's high on opium or something. He hit on 4 main issues. You said words are important. So the first one he said was mental health. Mental health is this industry that's been propped up on the left, and it's very important for the left-wing voters. So he's tying social media to mental health. The second one is he mentioned tech oligarchs. Like, he's trying to, paint these tech companies, which I'm not a big fan of, but he's trying to paint it in Marxist language. What was the third thing he mentioned? God, I hope. He stole what we always say on the right: OnlyFans. We're like, we're going to go liberate the world and we're going to bring OnlyFans to women. He didn't mention OnlyFans, but he mentioned like the exploitation of women online. So he's taking a right-wing idea and he's kind of repackaging it. And then the fourth one is this he's trying to appeal to the compassion of mothers. Like, children are innocent, they're developing, this is an important moment in their life. And then he does the bait and switch where he's like, all right, now government's going to come in and do everything.
And when you think about it, it's absolutely brilliant what he's doing, because that's exactly it. Who wants to harm our children? This is why everything they do when it comes to this is so brilliant, because they go after the children. They go after protecting the children. I always think about that crazy mother in The Simpsons. But what about the children? Do you remember that? And that every time I see this and I see those comments are like, there's another one right there. Yes, defender of civil liberties are always a problem for totalitarian governments. There's one out of everyone that I agree with. One. That's how insane it is. But the reason I wanted to bring this up, because obviously it's breaking news, but this is something that I speak about all the time. This is my main focus. My main area of focus is censorship, free speech, because I understand that technology. And as much as I've spoken about this on the show many, many times, the reason I wanted to explain it again, how social media bans are dangerous, how they're so dangerous, especially when you look at the big picture and how they're not only implemented as a separate issue, but they connect to the bills that the liberals are pushing. So if you're new to the show, let me just paint a quick picture for you. Because in order to implement what he's talking about, a social media ban, that means that everybody needs to prove their age to access their social media. Basically, we would be forcing every single Canadian to provide a government-approved ID and attach them to all their social media accounts. Basically, creating a digital ID. Bill C-22 forces electronic service providers like Bell, TELUS, Rogers, Amazon, Google, all social media platforms, AI bots like ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Grok, and other companies to record your metadata and save it to up to 1 year without a warrant in case the police and government needs it. Bill C-9 defines what you can and cannot say online, and this both online and in the real world, and carries penalties from 2 years to life in prison. Bill C-8 allows the Minister of Industry to force electronic service providers I just described to cut the services of any individual they see as a threat. So our government forces electronic service provider to cut your services because they see you as a threat, and prohibits other ESPs from actually selling you new services. Basically, they can prevent you from accessing the internet. So put it into perspective, how the workflow of this social media and bills that I just described would work. Imagine that the government receives a complaint about you and a hate crime that you would have committed. Because there was a social media ban put in place, the government knows all of your accounts because they're attached to your name. So they can go through, they know where to look. Bill C-22 gives them all the information that they need up to 1 year to go back into your history and see all the problems that you might have talked about, all the comments that you made that they find problematic, that breaks the hate speech laws as described in Bill C-9. Then they send the police to your place to intimidate you, just like they do to 13,000 Englishmen in the UK. And for most people, having the police show up to their place is enough of a punishment. You know what they say? The process itself is the punishment. And then if you continue posting hate speech, you get arrested, you get charged, you can get 2 years to life in prison. And while your case is in court, the government can use Bill C-8 to make sure that you don't go online to speak about what's going on in your court case. That's the fucking reality of Canada right now.
You know what you're describing? It's basically Minority Report. If you remember the tragic shooting in BC, is it Tumbler Ridge?
Tumbler Ridge, yep.
They come out and they say ChatGPT had flagged them. Why did ChatGPT not inform us? We could have prevented that tragedy. When you present it like that, that makes sense. I mean, that's, you know, what is it? 4, 5, 6 children died tragically.
20?
But what they're
no, more like 20.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I'll
get
I
you
was
the
way
numbers.
off, but what I mean is that what they're doing is you can't talk to ChatGPT anymore. It's an invasion of your privacy. It's a destruction of attorney-client privilege almost. When I talk to ChatGPT, I'm expecting that there's a level of privacy. The government's not snooping, but they're trying to get even into that, so that if you do something that, you know, they consider to be illegal, then they can go after you.
Well, actually, Tumbler Ridge, no, you're right. It's 8 victims and a dozen injured. That's why I had the 20 in mind. So you were right. But the biggest problem with Tumbler Ridge, because this is something I covered heavily back when it was in the news, is that the RCMP and the police were already aware of that guy. The shooter, they knew about him since 2022, 2023, because he had been not arrested, but brought in under the Mental Health Act of British Columbia because he was mentally ill. Obviously, a dude that thinks he's a woman has a mental issue, but he was known to the police to a point where they took their firearms away. It's assumed that the mother, owned firearms. They took the firearms away from that household because of the kid. He's not a kid, my apologies. He was 18 years old. Because of that man, they took the guns away. Then a month before the shooting, they gave them back because a woke judge declared that they could have those firearms back. And 2 of those guns were used in the murder because 4 guns were used. 2 at the domicile, 2 at the school. But 2 of those guns have been identified to be part of the guns they gave back. So the RCMP, the police, had been aware of this guy for at least 2 years. And now they want to blame ChatGPT because they flagged that individual and did not report it to the RCMP and government. They already knew. This is how much crap this whole message is. They were already aware of the problem. They chose not to do anything about it. They even gave back guns. It blows my mind. And there's no consequences whatsoever for them dropping that ball. They get to blame ChatGPT for all their problems when they're the ones that drop the ball. Somebody at the RCMP, somebody at that police service, that woke judge that agreed to give those guns back should be in prison. We should change in Canada. That should become law. If you have judges that keep on excusing criminals or people with mental issues and they end up committing a crime because of their judgments, because of their error in judgment, they should be consequences to those judges directly. I guarantee you our justice system would change overnight if those judges would be held accountable for their mistakes, because right now they aren't. And you can see exactly what is happening. And Tumbler Ridge is the perfect example because they get the scapegoat ChatGPT when they're the problem.
I mean, at the very least, that our judges should be elected. That would give some accountability. I just want to quickly say something. I know you have a lot of other topics.
Oh, no,
Only
go for it, man.
a couple of weeks ago at the Liberal Party convention, Rachel Ben-Dayan said the same thing. We need to ban social media regulated for under 16s. Lo and behold, in the NDP Manitoba, Wabkanu unleashes exactly what she said.
Oh, it's not a coincidence. This is happening. Let me ask you this. Have you heard Pierre Poilievre say that was a bad idea? I haven't. Have you?
No.
This is not a political thing. This has nothing to do with political parties. Yet, a conservative government, a real conservative party, cares about freedom of speech. It is one of the most important things a conservative can believe in. Yet, here you go. You have nothing, not a peep from the opposition leader about social media bans. And don't give me that crap that he doesn't know any better. It's bullshit. We all know that they're all on board with this because it serves them. But this is insane. No matter where you look, they're not addressing. There's nobody out there in the political sphere that's actually explaining how dangerous social media bans are the way I'm explaining it. And you don't need to be that bright to understand what I'm talking about here. Social media bans equal digital IDs. Have you heard any of them complain about digital IDs? No. Look at the Premier of Alberta. She's pushing digital IDs on Albertans. That's the reality. Like, that's the reality we're looking at. No matter where we look, our politicians are pushing digital IDs on us, which means more control, more surveillance, and they do it in the name of protecting the children.
Pierre Polyev, he has this trick, this tactic he uses, which I think makes him look weak, where if he wants to talk about an actual conservative issue like abortion, he hands it over to that who's that woman, the black woman, she ran for the leadership race,
Oh yeah,
Leslyn Lewis.
I actually like her.
I know,
actually like her
but-
as a
but-
politician.
But he relies on her as a crutch to talk about abortion. For censorship, he's using that doctor MP for same thing. He came out and he gave an analogy. He's like, when I was a kid, I knew it was wrong to go through my sister's diary. It's wrong for the government to do that. So he's being just a coward. He doesn't do it himself as the leader of the party. He relies every once in a while on his candidates.
But this is not even the part that bothers me the most, is the fact that even those politicians who were talking about it do not even understand what it means. This is not about privacy. That's the problem. This is not what we're talking about here.
You're right. You're right. Yeah.
It's the technology aspect that blows my mind. And it's not just politicians, it's content creators at large. I come from a very technical background. I was building computers when I was probably 5-6 years old. My dad was an engineer. I became a sales engineer by pretty much accident. But the point is that I come from a very technical background and I'm a nerd. I love technology. I understand technology. I don't just use it like 99.9% of people. I understand what I use. I make it a point to understand. But unfortunately, our leaders don't. They don't even understand the technology that they're talking about. So for him to start to try to sell the idea that looking at the diary, your sister's diary, is wrong, what the fuck does that have to do with anything? That has nothing to do with anything. The problem is not that they're looking at your data. They're already looking at it. Don't fucking lie to yourself thinking that the government is not looking at every single piece of content that's out there. You're lying to yourself. The problem is that they're making it legal for them to do so. And for you to access your stuff, you need to prove who you are. They're creating a digital ID. This is exactly what they're doing. None of the politicians talk about this. And it's two reasons. They're on it or they're too fucking stupid to understand. It's either one of them. Both of them is bad. There's a reason why they're not talking about it. Ignorance, or they're in on it. And when I say ignorance, I mean more stupidity. But the problem remains the same, that our leaders are either letting it happen or they're part of it. And then that you don't hear about anywhere. How can we be educated if our politicians won't do the job? That we need guys like you and I that speak about it. But it blows my mind that no matter where you look, it doesn't matter that you're looking on the politician side. It doesn't matter that you're looking at the content creators out there that have massive audiences like I do, not talking about this. They're not talking about it. And it blows my mind that they either don't understand or they're in on it. And I'm not saying they're in on it. It's just, I'm telling you that those are the two possibilities. They're ignorant / stupid, or they're in on it. They don't want, because you don't have to be behind the scheme to be in on it. If you choose not to talk about it while knowing what's going on, you're in on it. You know, I was using that analogy with my mother-in-law yesterday. We're watching a movie about police officers, and some police officers are corrupt. And I'm like, you know, most police officers are corrupt. Not necessarily because they're the ones doing the crimes, but they know who is. And the fact that those people are not being reported because we protect each other in the police force, that makes you responsible. Just if I know that you're committing a crime, you get caught, the information gets out that you committed a crime and I knew it, I protected you, guess what? I'm in trouble too. But it doesn't apply to police officers. It doesn't apply to our politicians. This is a problem. So they, even if they're not part of the problem, they're not pushing the agenda, they're aware of it. Thus, They're part of it. This is the reality that we see today. It's absolutely insane that the vast majority, no matter where you look, left, right, center, doesn't matter. They're all doing the same thing. Very hard for me to believe that it's not coordinated.
You know, the way I see it, the police, the prosecutors, the judges, they're all sort of on the same team, and they have an adversarial position towards us. And when you say these MPs, they're either idiots or they're in on it. In a way, they're in on it because they're on the same side as the police, prosecutors, and judges, and we are the little people.
That's my point, right? I'm not saying that all politicians are going out there stealing money or that all police officers are stealing money. That's not what I'm saying. But if they're aware of a problem, if they're aware of a crime being committed and they don't report it, they don't get in trouble. If I do the same thing as a little commoner, I get in trouble. This is the problem. They have different rules for them than we have for ourselves. So no matter how you look at it, it's a problem.
No, I agree.
So we're 30 minutes in. I'm gonna ask you guys questions because it's one thing to complain, it's one thing to always be identifying the problems. We need to find solutions to what we're talking about, and social media bans are coming. Obviously, this is the point. This is breaking news from today. Clearly, they're coming. So what do you guys think we should do about it? I'm asking to the people in the audience, what should we do about social media bans? I'm also curious to know, do you guys believe that politicians are in on it? Because as we mentioned, Pierre Poilievre's not talking about this. I haven't seen Pierre Poilievre address the social media bans yet. That's been out there for weeks now. That's been out there for at least 2 to 3 weeks. Well, sorry, Mark Carney spoke about it months ago when he was in Japan, saying that they were heavily considering it. But 2 weeks ago, I believe, was the national convention for the Liberal Party that took place right here in Montreal. And they voted on a non-binding motion to say that they intended to do this. So this is no surprise, yet I'm not hearing conservatives talking about this. I'm not. So do you guys believe that they are in on it? Or is it, you know what? Let me rephrase the question for you guys. Is it ignorance or are they in on it? That's the question I have for you guys. When it comes to social media bans, are politicians in on it? Or they're really that ignorant that they don't understand what the real problem is? That's the question I have for you guys. Before I do get your comments, I want to show something. First, thank you. I'm going to thank everybody on here. But let me show you an image. This is messy. This is my desk. My desk is often a mess. But this was taken just before the show. Just wanted to say, guys, we have achieved our goals. Our goal. I picked up the Rodecaster Pro 2 this week. It's set up right now. If you saw, the little lights are moving because my microphone's going through it right now. And I will be testing it this week and setting up the new Orphans Hotline, which starting next week. And when I say next week, in my head, Sunday's the first day of the week. So the first week of May, we will be launching the Orphans Hotline, where you guys will be able to call in. I will be able to drop a link in the comments, and you guys will be able to have your voice heard live on the show. So first and foremost, thank you for your donations that was able to purchase this sweet piece of equipment. And starting next week, we will be able to have voice-to-voice conversations. That being said, question of the day: are politicians in on it, or are they that ignorant when it comes to social media bans?
We got a lot of answers from Hatfiend. Of course, they're in on it. Same agenda everywhere.
Oh, I think anybody that's been on this show at least once knows that I know they're in on it. I can prove it to you. But I'm asking the question. I want to know what people, because I'm always open. I'm open to being proven wrong. I'm open to having that conversation. So again, guys, do you think they're in on it, or are they that ignorant?
We got another one from Super Cult, who says all WEF members are 100% in on it. Agenda 2030. That is.
You know, 100%. If you were part of the WEF, like Mark Carney was on the board of trustees of the WEF, like Pierre Poliev was on the WEF website just before the last election, somehow that portion got scrubbed, but he was on there for years. So it's not, again, it's not a left versus right problem here. It is them against us. It's politicians, the leaders, and us. But similar to the question of today, do they really need to be in on it to be allowing it to happen? Because I don't see anybody on the conservative side calling each other out or calling everybody out to say that they support the WEF. Like, you can hate the WEF all you want. Mark Carney was there. Trump was at the WEF. Do you think he's really against the WEF if he appeared? Those are questions. And I'm not saying I have the answer. I'm just saying those are questions we need to ask ourselves. If I'm against the WEF, do you honestly believe that I'm going to show up there? No, I won't, because I'm against it. Why would I be there? Why would I encourage it by being there? It makes no sense. It makes no sense that we continue believing this crap, but you don't need to be on the WEF board of trustees or on their website to be allowing their policies to be pushed. And guys from Alberta, Daniel Smith is a supporter of the WEF because of the MOA or the MOU, my apologies, that she signed with Carney. If you read the MOU that she signed, she agreed to the net zero, the 2050 net zero agenda was literally word for word stipulated in the MOU. This is what I'm trying to say, right? People in Alberta want to separate, want to be independent, and I fucking get it. I understand, and I hope it happens for you guys. Deep down, I don't want it to happen because I want Alberta to be part of Canada, but that's selfish of me. But I fully understand why the people out there, the Albertans want to separate, because you've been screwed for a long time by Ottawa. I get it. But my point is that even your leader that is supposedly open to the idea of independence is pushing a digital ID, and she signed an MOU stamped by the 2050 WEF net zero agenda. So even her actions speak very loudly.
We got two more answers to your question. I'm going to read these back to back. Diane McMeekin says, in on it 100%. And Slightly Bent too says, in on it 100%. But that's the establishment parties.
What does that mean? What does that mean exactly, the establishment parties? What do you mean by that, Slightly Bent? By the way, great name. Slightly Bent. I don't want to ask what you're talking about.
I think what he means is the political parties, they're all a part of the establishment. Whether liberal, conservative, they're both in on it.
Well, actually, if you pay attention to words, I would say that he's referring to traditional parties. The way he phrased it, he's kind of implying, and that might just be me trying to read too much in everything that I do, that by saying that's establishment parties, meaning let's say the PPC is not an establishment party because it has no power, thus it is not part of that agenda. Do you know what I'm saying? So it really depends. If he's like me and he's very anal about the way he positions his words, then I can see him saying that the PPC is not part of it. But I'm curious, Slightly Bent, let me know if that was the intent, because to me that's how it sounds like.
All right, we'll see if he does a follow-up. There's a lot of people that answered your questions. Here's one from Wild 1957 Flower. I believe that there is only a uniparty in Ottawa now. They all know what's going on. There are only a handful of politicians who I might trust today. Which
are? Wildflower, that's a great question, by the way. Always happy to hear from you. She was a big contributor for the Roadcaster Pro, so thank you again, Wildflower, for your contribution. And you better be calling starting next week. I better hear your voice because you're always commenting. But I agree that there's just a handful of politicians like Leslyn Lewis. I don't know her. I don't know her enough, but it seems that if I had to make a choice, if I was in a arm lock of some type and the only way not to break, not to have my arm removed from my body would be to pick a conservative I could support, it would be her. I actually saw some of her speech. I saw some of the debates that she had in the House of Commons. She did try to become the leader of the Conservative Party. I like her. Like, I like her. Maybe it's misplaced because she doesn't get enough attention in order to make that many mistakes, but she's very well spoken and she said some pretty clean things, as in she was very firm in what she believes and she had the courage to say them. So that I agree with. But what's the other one? The guy from BC that I'm trying to get on the show.
Aaron Gunn,
No. On the MLA side, he's provincial.
Jordan
We're trying
Keeley.
to. Yes, that's another one that I see. I seem to agree with that guy. I've never met him, but just looking at the type of dude that he is and hearing stories from some of his constituents that brought problems to him and the way he addressed them outside, like compared to the other MLAs that they've had before. And from what I gather, he's a rancher. Like he's not in politics because he wants to stay there for life. He's just there because he needed to step up and do the work, which I respect. So of course there's still good politicians out there, but they're very far in between. And I respect Keeley because he also ran as an independent. That's something that I would love if through the political orphans over the next few years we start really impacting communities after communities after communities, and we start to see leaders that are aligned with our movement coming out and trying to become MLAs, trying to become federal MPs, all under an independent banner as a big fuck you to the federal government. I will not condone any of your parties, but I still want to step up and do the right thing for my community, so I will run as an independent. Can you imagine having hundreds of MPs elected? Well, not hundreds, it wouldn't make sense, but dozens of MPs on the federal level being elected as independent and having MLAs elected as independent. Of course, they're not changing the system, and we both know that the system is flawed. It was designed this way, but it starts sending a message to Ottawa in the same way as during elections, we should add another category of votes that is, I don't want to vote for the candidates that you've selected for me. So here are all the politicians you can vote for. I will go out of my way to go vote to just check a box that says, I don't condone your corrupt system, and I want you to know, and that vote would be tabulated. Obviously, this would never happen, clearly. But can you imagine if we had a real number representing the Canadians out there that are tired of this system, that understands the system, that simply, like me, don't vote? I haven't voted in an election in a long time, and I won't vote again because I don't encourage the system. I will not give them the power by me encouraging the system because I know my vote doesn't matter. I know that. It's not that hard to see that our votes don't matter. Sorry about that rant. Thanks a lot, Wildflower, for sending me on that rant. Thank you.
Here's a good one from someone who's kind of providing a solution instead of just criticizing.
Ivermectin.
Ivermectin says, if we used all this technology to keep our politicians in check instead of spying on citizens, the country could heal.
It would be so simple. Just treat it as employees in the corporate world. So I worked in the corporate world for 20 years. You know what? They provided the laptops, they provided the cell phones, they provided all the equipment that I needed in order to perform my duties. What did that mean? They spied on me every single time. They knew exactly what I was doing. Not that they would be necessarily looking at me and what I was doing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but the information was logged and available. So what Bill C-22 is trying to do to us, my employer was doing it to me because I worked for them. It's their time. They're paying me. they have the right, as per what they're concerned, to know what I'm doing. Instead of having our government do that to us through Bill C-22, we should be doing that to them, because guess what? Our politicians work for us, not the other way around. We are the employers. They are the employee. They work for us. Our salary, their salary is paid with our tax money, meaning we should have access to every single phone call that they make in real time as they're doing them right now. We should have access to their call logs. All their phone calls should be recorded and publicly available, just like people that work in in call centers. We should have access to their schedule, to their calendars. We should be able to see their emails, their responses. We should know everything that they do, just like employers in the corporate world have access to their employees' information, because guess what? They work for us, not the other way around. So I totally agree with you. People would really change. And not only that, I came up with this idea years ago where not only should we have all that type of access, but politicians should only get the equivalent of the average Canadian salary while they're serving the people. And at the end of their mandate, there should be a bonus based on performance. So if they serve their constituents properly, you put it to a vote. Constituents are deciding, does he deserve end of term bonus? If they did a great job, they get it. If not, they don't. That would cut the incentive for a lot of politicians that are just looking to make money and power. They don't care about the people. So there's things that we can do, but we need to implement them, and it's going to be a hard fight, but it's possible.
There was a time several hundred years ago where people looked down on lawyers and treated them like trash. If we start making that popular for politicians again, maybe less of them will go into it for the money.
The money, the power. I think it's probably more power than it is, or equally power than it is money. But at the same time, I think ivermectin is bang on, and I agree with him. They should be monitored the way they want to monitor us right now with Bill C2, C8, C12, C16, C22, C25, and soon to be C63 and social media bans. It should be the same thing for them. It should be completely inverted. We have freedom. They work for us. We spy on them. It's our salary. We're paying their salary. Plain and simple. So it's our money. We should be deciding. It's not that complicated.
Do you have time? I think we have time for more comments, right?
Oh, 15 minutes, man.
Well, ivermectin just says, appreciate you reading that, guys. You're welcome. Any comments?
You're welcome, man. No, it's a great comment, so we're going to take it. And guys out there, the people in the comment section, obviously, if you're new to this, make sure to like, make sure to smash that like button. Even if you're not new to this, smash that like button, because it helps with the algorithm. It helps us reach more people. Share this stream for the people out there that might not understand why social media bans are so dangerous. But I want to hear from you guys. I want to see comments. If you disagree with me, I'm not saying disagree with me just for the sake of disagreement. But if you really disagree with how I see social media bans, please tell me. I want to take those comments, and starting next week, I hope those people call. I want to debate people. I want to be able to have those hard conversations with people, because this is how we slowly take back Canada, is by having real conversations about the real problems that we're facing, and we stop propagating that lie that our politicians are always telling us, that we need to be separated through left versus right narratives. All lies. Speak to your fellow Canadians and you'll realize that we're a lot more alike than we are different. We mostly agree on all the problems out there. We don't agree necessarily on the solution. We might have different ideas when it comes to solutions, but most Canadians right now can say that we have a problem with our economy. Most Canadians out there are not happy with what's going on with those censorship bills that you're seeing out there. Like, it's not a left versus right problem. What was the guy I was on his podcast yesterday? The guy that you booked me on.
RBM?
He's a leftist. He's a traditional leftist. I'm a Christian conservative. And we agreed on most things.
Yeah. He's got an interesting story. Everybody go watch that interview. It's at Beyond the Pale with RBM. It was good. You did a great job. Here's a comment from Charlottetown. People need to start growing up and raising their own kids. This is something you brought up earlier. Just going back to your first topic.
You know, I waited. I'm older. I'm 44. My wife is older. I'm not going to say her age. She's quite a few years younger than I am, but we had children later on in life. Her was not necessarily by choice, but for me, it was. I wanted to have children later. I wasn't ready to have children, not because I couldn't deal with what children were. That's never been a problem. I just did not feel that I had the knowledge, the courage, what it needed to raise a son or a daughter that will be functional in this society, that will try to make it a better place. And I was not the inspiration that I want to be for my children. I do this. One of the big reasons I do what I do and I speak about what I speak about every single day is because I want my children to have the perfect example of what it is to stand up for your beliefs, no matter what the consequences are. I want to teach that to my son by association. I will explain it to him, but I don't need to because he will see it every single day. And that is what being a parent is being accountable. You have to be accountable for your actions. You have to be accountable for your children. There's no place for governments in family life. There's none. They don't belong there. They never have. And it's not about protecting your children. It's about control. And we need to realize this. This is about controlling your faith and the faith of your children. And that belongs to you as a parent. If you do not want to take accountability for your actions and your children's actions, do not become a parent. You don't deserve to be a parent. You don't, and it's fine. A lot of people out there don't have children, and thank God they don't have children. Thank God. There's a lot of people out there that should not procreate. So I'm very happy that a lot of them are not procreating. But if you do choose to procreate, it's your responsibility as a parent to be accountable for your children's actions. It's on you, not the government, not big tech, you.
We got a question. I'm just skipping ahead. I believe this individual is disagreeing with you. So let's see what Sal Leslie has to say. It's a long one, so I'll read it out. Well, Nico, for someone who trained in MMA, I think you need to realize that in order to win a fight, you have to know your opponent. A champion will review fight film to learn a strategy. Now, I have certainly heard Pierre Poilievre speak against the liberal overreach and policies which go against the charter. Recently, he attended an anti-confiscation firearm rally. I attended one which he again confirmed his opposition to the gun grab, as well as his opposition of the legislation which the liberals are trying to pass.
You know what? I agree with you to a certain extent. You want to leave it there so that I can refer to what he's talking about. So for someone who trained MMA, I think you need to realize that in order to win a fight, you need to know your opponent. That's not quite true. You can easily win a fight without knowing who your opponent is. That's incorrect. I got to tell you, that's wrong. Does it help? Sure. It does help to know what your opponent is capable of, but your tapes or your recording are always from the past. And I can tell you, I got the chance to train or to be trained by a guy by the name of Clifton Brown, which was the number one 185er in Muay Thai in the world. The dude is a fucking monster. Think about a 6'2", 6'3", probably weighs about 250 pounds now, still able to high kick a foot above my head. The dude is a monster. And I asked him that question, similar question to what you just said. And you know what he told me? It does not matter who you put in front of me. This is my ring. And he's going to leave this ring. It's my ring. So it's not about knowing your opponents. But I understand your point when it comes to politics. You need to understand who you're talking about. So I'm just saying that your fight analogy is not very good, but I understand your point. The problem with Pierre Poilievre is not that he's never mentioned liberal overreach, is that he doesn't hammer it down. You know what I talk about every single fucking day? Free speech. That's what I talk about because this is what matters to me. Free speech, guns, everything that has to do with free speech. If it has something to do with guns, I'm going to talk about it. That's what I talk about. This is what I will hammer down, that the most important things that we have as human beings is the right to say the truth, no matter how much it hurts people's feelings. Why? If I understand such a simple principle, why doesn't he? Like, he's going around right now talking about axe the tax for gas. Who the fuck cares? It's 28 cents. The federal tax is 28 cents. Mark Carney just chopped 10 cents. So he has 18 cents. Who the fuck cares? The gas around my place is at 100, is 191. You're going to remove another 18 cents. Okay, cool. That means I'm paying what, 165? Who the fuck cares? A month and a half ago, it was 140 when it should be below $1. The problem is not taxes. The problem is that we have the third largest oil reserve in the world and we decide not to dig for oil. We should be as rich as Saudi Arabia. We have more oil and gas, or about the same as they do, yet we have a crashing economy right now. That's the problem. Axing the tax is not going to change shit. This is the point, and this is my problem with Pierre Poilievre. He's not addressing the root of the problem. He's addressing what's popular and what's acceptable. I guarantee you that everything that comes out of his mouth has been ran through focus groups that will tell him, oh yeah, see, you can say that and you can say, but you can't say that. He was on Joe Rogan within the last month and he didn't even have the balls to speak against Pierre Poilievre, to speak about Mark Carney. Why? Oh, because it's not polite to do so. Who the fuck cares about being polite when my country's getting destroyed by a uniparty? I'm supposed to endorse this? This is the point I'm trying to make. Talking about one issue one time is not a big deal. You need to hammer this shit down day in, day out. Be talking about the real problems that Canadians are facing. And the fact that our government, our existing government, is turning our country into a surveillance state is the number one problem that we have right now. But yet he doesn't address it like it's a problem. And this is what the issue is. They talk about all of those things like they're not connected and they're just business as usual. He said about Mark Carney's stolen majority that with a majority comes great responsibility. Hey, fuck off, asshole. It was stolen. He literally got a majority through floor crossing. There's nothing about responsibility here. He got a majority through backroom deals. First government in Canadian history to do so. Yet, with it, when a majority comes great responsibility. Hey, fuck off. Are you kidding me? This is the problem with a guy like Pierre Poilievre. And I don't even care how he is behind closed doors because people keep on telling me, oh, he's not like that behind closed doors. He wants... Okay, so why doesn't he do it in front of everybody when it actually matters? So, bro, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I think Sal was his name. My apologies, man. But that's my problem. I'm not ripping into you. I get what you're saying. I get it because I hear this stuff every day. But as soon as you stop believing that left versus right bullshit, you start to realize that they're doing the same thing. Do you honestly believe? Like, let me ask you this, Peyman, and I'll ask the people in the comment section. And unfortunately, we don't have a lot of time to get to your answers. But do you guys, first and foremost, do you believe that our government right now is destroying Canada? Is that something that you believe? I'm asking you.
Oh, you're asking me or the audience?
No, both. But the audience can't physically respond to me right now.
Yeah, good point. I think they're destroying the Canada that you and I perceive, but from their perspective, they're marching towards the socialist utopia and they're going to unleash communism upon the world.
Okay, So we agree that the powers that be, let's call them the liberals for sake of argument, that our liberal government is trying to fundamentally change Canada into something that it is not, or that it wasn't intended to be. We can agree on that, right? I think most of the people out there can agree on this. If you're somebody that's sitting, I'll take that fight analogy earlier. All the guys that I fought in my life in the ring, I wasn't mad at them. Most of them I didn't even know. So I wasn't mad at them. It was a sport. It was a fight. It was me fighting my own psyche. That's what fighting is about for me. But if I'm facing a guy that is literally destroying Canada, that is taking money and food away from my child through policies and sheer incompetence, whatever you want to call it, do you honestly believe that I will shake that man's hand? Never. Do you think that you will see me on the side having a good laugh and partying with them? Never gonna happen. That dude is gonna step in a ring with me. I will rip his fucking head off of his shoulder. But this is not what we're seeing right now. How many pictures do you see of Mark Carney and Pierre Poilievre shaking hands and laughing? He doesn't believe what he says. If that guy is my enemy, I'm not shaking hands with him. I'm not laughing with this guy. He is ruining my life. I'm not promoting violence. I'm just using a fight analogy that if I step in a ring with somebody that I hate, it's going to be personal. There's no smiling. There's no shaking hands at the beginning of the fight. It's going to be problematic for that person. But we're not seeing this from our politicians. And this is the lie that we're being sold that we need to wake up to. They're all part of the same clan, and we're not part of it. You know, like George Carlin said, there's a big group out there, and unfortunately, we're not part of it. And that's the reality. And this is what I don't understand from the average Canadian is what is it going to take to understand that Pierre Poilievre and Mark Carney are not enemies? Just like Trump wasn't an enemy of Obama or the Clintons. There's multiple videos of them sitting next to each other. They're just having fun and they're laughing and they're exchanging jokes. Do you do that with somebody that you strongly believe is destroying your country? No, you don't. Would you? I wouldn't.
I love that George Carlin quote. Yeah.
George Carlin was a mastermind. It is impressive to be, you know, from the get-go, if you look at jesters back in the days, if you look at royalty, jesters were the only commoners that were able to make fun of the king publicly. That was their job because they thought they would keep the king accountable by making fun of them. But if you look at a true master comedian, they use extremely, extremely serious topics, but they spin it in a way that sounds funny, but isn't. When you look at a George Carlin, he was the king. He would say something, you're like, what the fuck did you just say? He was brilliant. That guy's comedy is the best comedian, in my opinion, I've ever heard, is a George Carlin.
Yeah, comedians are pretty good at that.
Very political, but very political, though. Like, George Carlin was an extremely political guy, but made it sound like a joke.
Yeah, they can present it in a way that the public can easily consume.
It's a good way to put it. We're 1 minute over. Guys, I fucking love having comments like this. Like, this is, and hopefully, Sal, obviously you've been here before because you know my background. I don't normally talk about my martial art background that often. So clearly you've been here before. So I appreciate your comment. Hopefully you understand I'm not ripping into you. I'm just addressing what you said from my point of view. Hopefully next week, man, you call in because I'd like to have that conversation with you voice to voice. So it's not one-sided because right now it's not fair. I have a microphone, you don't. So I can rip into that question and demolish it any way I can. And you don't get to push back or argue back because you don't have a microphone. So hopefully you call in next week. Hopefully the people in the audience, you start calling in next week so that I can start having voice-to-voice conversations with you guys. But until then, please remember it's not too late for Canada. We can save the country. The longer we wait, the harder it's going to become. But we just need to be Man, it's simple. We just need to educate. We just need to have those hard conversations with the people in our inner circle or in our circle of influence, as we call it. Your friends, your family, your coworkers, have those conversations just like we had right now. Talk about social media bans. 75% of Canadians think they're a good idea. Why? Because they're ignorant. They don't understand what it actually means. Who's going to tell them? Not mainstream media, not the content creators out there, because they don't even understand or talk about it. So it takes you to do something and say it. Have those conversations with your families. It's important to have those hard conversations with the people around you, because this is how we change Canada. You do it, then somebody else does it, and somebody else does it, and then somebody else does it. Then you have full communities that are starting to align and agree that there's a problem. And then we can find real solutions on how to fix it. So that's all we have to do, guys, is to be courageous, to have those conversations, those hard conversations with the people we care about. And that's it. That's all I got for you guys. But thank you for being here. Peyman, as always a pleasure to record with you. Guys in the audience, tomorrow, 7 p.m., I moved the interview from today to tomorrow. But my buddy, Randy Turner, ex-JTF2 member, the top military force in Canada, our special forces, will be on the show to speak about the new Canadian Armed Forces number, saying that our forces, more and more people are joining the military right now. Turns out that we are allowing temporary residents, not temporary, but what's the term? Permanent resident. I don't even speak French or English to be part of our military. So tomorrow we're going to be talking about this. And on Tuesday, Chris Joseph, the father that lost a son in the Broncos, in the Humboldt Broncos bus crash, where an Indian driver killed dozens of children and staff, going to be on the show to talk about the new judge's decision to stop the remigration of his son's killer. On Monday, he was supposed to be deported. Tomorrow, CBSA had a ticket booked for him to go back to India, but a woke judge allows him to stay. So he's going to be on the show to speak about this Tuesday. Until then, thank you.
The woke judge is going to be on your show?
No, Chris Joseph is going to be on the show, obviously. There's no, I would love to have the woke judge on the show, but that ain't going to happen. So thank you guys for being here. Thank you for your comments, your likes. Make sure to smash that like button. Make sure to subscribe if you've never been here before. Comment, even though you do it after the show. I always look at them and try to answer them all. So until tomorrow, have a good night. And that's it. Peace.